Is Donald Trump a liberal, moderate, or conservative on the issue of abortion? Or you don't know? By a show of fingers, who says that he's a liberal on the issue of abortion? Trump. Is it liberal? None of you. Who says he's a moderate on the issue? None of you. Who says he's conservative on abortion? 4 of you. And who doesn't know? You just don't happen to know. 2 of you. Okay. And if you don't know, don't worry about it. That's totally fine. Is Joe Biden liberal, moderate, conservative, or don't know on abortion? Show of fingers. Who says liberal? 4 of you. Moderate? Conservative? Don't know. 2 of you don't know. Okay. Is RFK Jr. a liberal, moderate, or conservative on abortion, or you don't know? Who says that RFK Jr. is a liberal on abortion? None of you. Moderate? 1 of you. Conservative? 1 of you. Don't know? 4 of you. Okay. By a show of fingers, who would say that former President Trump is at least partially responsible for Roe v. Wade being overturned by the Supreme Court? Is that Nicole? Anybody else? The other 5 of you wouldn't say that Trump is at least partially responsible for that. Nicole, in what way is he responsible?
I'd say he's partially responsible because he was the sitting president when they had a voting of the Supreme Justices.
Explain that to me. What happened exactly?
So when they were voting for the Supreme Justice for the position, he was part of that, of who was going to be seated there. So without his influence, we wouldn't have had a conservative justice to be part of that decision. So that's why I say partially responsible.
So he nominated the judges who
Thank you.
who were
Nominated
during his presidency. Is that that's what you're saying?
Yes. Thank you.
Got it. Had the rest of you heard that or not? That sounded all familiar? No, does it sound familiar that Trump named justices who ended up being responsible for overturning Roe v. Wade? That does not sound familiar. Okay. By a show of fingers, who is uncertain what the law is in Arizona right now when it comes to abortion? Who's uncertain about what the law is in Arizona when it comes to abortion at this moment? 3 of you. So, Rochelle, what is the law right now in Arizona? You're muted.
So what the last I heard, which was like 1 or 2 months ago, when they finally moved it to that they made it illegal all the way here. I think that was like a month or 2 ago.
Okay, so right now abortion is totally illegal in Arizona?
I think.
Okay. Ruben, what's the law right now in Arizona when it comes to abortion?
Going with what you said, it's illegal.
It's illegal right now. Okay.
Right.
Nicole, what about you? What's the law in Arizona right now?
That was my understanding as well, that it's illegal.
I'm sorry, illegal?
Illegal, correct.
Illegal. Okay, got it. All right. So, assuming it makes it onto the November ballot, who plans to vote for a constitutional amendment to the Arizona state constitution that would make abortion a fundamental right until 24 weeks of pregnancy? Who would vote for that in November? 3 of you. 4 of you. Isaiah, why would you vote for it?
I believe it's the woman's right up until I would say about 2 months prior, 3 months prior to birth, whether she wants to keep the baby.
Maritza, why would you vote for it?
Just like Isaiah said, I feel like it's the woman's right. You know, it's their own body. They have, you know, the right to decide over it.
Okay. Michelle, either of you have a different view or something different than what Maritza and Isaiah said?
I was just going to add more a lot of the times for medical necessities for the life of the mother, things like that is my concern about it.
Okay. Michelle, what about you? Same or different?
Well, in the field that I work in, I see a lot of mothers who are faced with decisions when the babies have lethal anomalies. And I don't think it's right to not give them a choice to end that pregnancy because there's severe psychological damages to go on with the pregnancy. That's not viable.
Okay, got it. So who in this group could envision voting for the constitutional amendment? We're talking about the 4 of you I just talked with, and also voting for President Trump. Any of you fit that category? Isaiah, you could vote for. Got it. So Nicole and Ruben, you would vote no on the constitutional amendment. Do I have that right?
Probably, but I mean, I would agree with previous panelists that said it under special circumstances. But really, I'm against the abortion.
Okay, got it. So and Nicole, why would you vote against it?
I mean, it's a separate DNA, it's a separate body, so it's making a decision for somebody else's body.
Okay, got it. So could either of you, Nicole or Ruben, sorry, please mute Ruben. Sorry, Ruben, we're getting some feedback from you. It's nothing personal. It's just it's the connection. So who in this group could envision voting against, sorry, with Nicole and Ruben, could either of you imagine voting against the constitutional amendment, but for President Biden? Nicole, no. Ruben? I'm sorry, you have to unmute again, Ruben. I apologize.
Okay, so I probably vote for President Biden if those the 2 runners.
Got it. So if it's a two-way race, you would vote against the abortion amendment, but for President Biden.
Right.
Okay, got it. By a show of fingers, for how many of you will abortion be a big factor in who you will vote for in November's presidential election? Five of you will be a big factor. Okay. So I know where you stand in terms of pro-choice and pro-life. So Nicole, help me with this. You're pro-life. You voted for Trump the last time. How you, if this is an important issue for you, how is it driving how you're going to decide?
I mean, basically, if there was another candidate, whether or not they have a chance to win, that wouldn't be the only factor. But if they were pro-life and all other things that align with our beliefs, I would vote for them, even if I knew they weren't going to win. I can't, in good conscience, vote for a president just because they match with one belief of mine.
Okay, got it. So it's a whole variety of issues you're voting on. Okay. Rochelle, describe for me how abortion is going to be a big factor in how you vote in November.
Yeah, it's going to be a big factor just because I just feel like it's a really, really touchy subject, and you just can't tell somebody what to do with their own body, especially if it's going to end their own life. So it is going to be a big factor for me.
Okay, got it. Marisa, how about you?
I feel like it's the same deal as Rochelle said. Telling somebody what to do with their body, even if it's like life-threatening and stuff like that. You're like even denying the service. I think it's just, I don't think it's right.
Okay. So in a five-way race, 4 of you said that you would take RFK Jr. Who are those 4 again? Nicole, Rochelle, Ruben, and who else would take RFK in a five-way race? And Isaiah. Okay, got it. So this question is directed at Rochelle and Isaiah. So President Biden would say to you that if you vote for RFK Jr., you're throwing your vote away, since Kennedy has no chance of winning. And if you care about abortion rights, you're essentially giving your vote to Trump if you don't support Biden. What do you make of that argument? Isaiah?
I think it's a compelling one. I think if I was faced with that, I think it might sway my vote. That's hard. I have no defense to that. They're right.
Okay. Michelle, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like if that's the situation, then that would sway my vote. But that would have to be whatever it is at that time, and seeing what's going on and what it looks like, the popularity, if he's going to be popular or anything like that. Then, and if I don't see he's going to be or any chance, then I could understand his way of thinking for saying that.
Biden's way of thinking.
Yes.
Okay, got it. So he could get you off the sidelines, away from, he could peel you away from RFK Jr. He makes the case RFK Jr. can't win. He's unlikely to win, and if you vote for him, you're moving away from abortion rights as opposed to towards it.
Right.
Okay, got it. Nicole and Ruben, want you to imagine a very similar scenario. President Trump would say to you that if you vote for RFK Jr., you're throwing your vote away since Kennedy has no chance of winning. And if you care about protecting the Dobbs decision, you're essentially giving your vote to Biden if you don't support Trump. What do you make of that argument?
I mean, I think that's just a bullying tactic of, if that's not the only issue I'm voting for. So I'm voting for numerous issues. And while that is unfortunate, I can't vote just against somebody. I have to vote for somebody. So either I vote for a candidate I believe in, even if they are not going to win, or I don't vote for that specific, for the president, and I vote everywhere else because there is no candidate I can support.
Got it. Ruben, what about you? I'm sorry, you're muted again.
I'd be persuaded to change my vote to Biden.
No, it'd be changing your vote to Trump.
Oh, to Trump, no. No, I wouldn't.
Wait, you're pro-life, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Trump would say to you, if you vote for RFK Jr., you're throwing away your vote.
then I just wouldn't vote.
I'm sorry?
Then I wouldn't vote anyways.
You wouldn't vote at all, even in a five-way race?
Right.
Okay, got it. Some Republican office holders support a national ban on abortion after 15 weeks of pregnancy, with exceptions for cases of rape, incest, or risk to the physical health of the mother. By a show of fingers, who would support this 15-week ban? Anybody?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry, I missed the first part.
Sure. Some Republican office holders support a national ban on abortion after 15 weeks of pregnancy, with exceptions for cases of rape, incest, or risk to the physical health of the mother. By a show of fingers, who would support this 15-week ban policy? 3 of you would. Great. I want to know first, is Donald Trump, in your mind, a liberal, moderate, or conservative on the issue of abortion? Or do you not know? And if you don't know, please don't guess. Just say you don't know. So by a show of fingers, who would say that Trump is a liberal on abortion? None of you. Moderate? None of you. Conservative? 5 of you. Who'd say you don't know? Enrique, 1. Okay. Joe Biden, is he liberal, moderate, or conservative on abortion, or do you not know? Show of fingers, who says Biden is a liberal on abortion? 5 of you. Who would say he's moderate? Who would say he's conservative? Kasaya, don't know?
I would say he's liberal.
Oh, wait, so you're with everybody else?
Yeah, sorry about that. I was just thinking about it.
Okay, got it. Is RFK Jr. liberal, moderate, or conservative on abortion, or do you not know? Who would say that RFK Jr. is liberal on abortion? None. Moderate? None. Conservative? None. So all of you don't know where he stands on abortion.
Don't know.
Okay. By a show of fingers, who would say that former President Trump is at least partially responsible for Roe v. Wade being overturned by the Supreme Court? Show of fingers. Who would say that former President Trump is at least partially responsible for Roe v. Wade being overturned? 5 of you. Okay. Melissa, in what way is he partially responsible?
I think he took a pretty hard stance on his views on abortion. So I feel like he had a lot to do with it being overturned.
Wait, hold on a second. No matter what the president thinks, has no bearing on the Supreme Court's decisions. How did Trump have any impact on the Supreme Court? What did he do specifically that would cause the Supreme Court to be able to overturn Roe v. Wade? Do you have any sense as to specific steps he took?
To be honest with you, I didn't follow it too much.
Okay.
I just know that it was overturned during his presidency.
Overturned during whose presidency?
Trump's. Was it not?
Okay. How many of you, by show of fingers, think that Roe v. Wade was overturned during Trump's presidency? Okay. All right. So we have difference of opinion there. Manny, tell me how Trump, what Trump did, or was to make him partially responsible for overturning Roe v. Wade.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but he appointed one judge for sure, which is the gentleman that was under heat, like at the beginning of his presidency. And I know that RBG passed during his presidency. So I want to say that he was either leaving office as he appointed the last Supreme Justice, or Biden did. But I know for a fact he put one more judge in there, one more Supreme Judge. I just don't know if it's true or not. I forgot.
Okay. Kasaya, how did he impact the Supreme Court decision in Roe v. Wade? What did
He
Trump
elect- He elected the justices that overturned that decision.
do? How many justices were there?
That overturned the decision?
How many did Trump appoint while he was president?
Oof, I think 3.
Okay. By a show of fingers, who thinks that Casilla is right? Casilla is right. No one agrees with you on
I don't know how many.
number. Kristen, how many did he appoint?
I don't know how many he appointed. I just know the main one, that replaced, what's her name? Amy Coney.
Amy, Eric, yes. Replaced.
Okay, that was, in my belief is that she was like the main head of, when everybody knew when she was going to be replaced, that was what she was going to go after was Roe v. Wade, and that's what happened.
Okay. But was she the only person that Trump that Trump nominated, or were there other people?
That's the only one that stands out to me. So I'm sure he probably did, but that's the one that I know of. So I can't give you an answer on that.
Okay. Enrique?
I think it was, I know for a fact there was 2. It was Amy and Brett Kavanaugh, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, I agree that, I mean, I think the court is a little bit more on the conservative side. So it definitely, by doing that, it definitely helped.
Okay.
For sure.
By a show of fingers, anybody heard of a gentleman named Neil Gorsuch?
Oh, Neil Gorsuch, yes.
Show of fingers, who's heard of Neil Gorsuch? One of you. Okay. Got it. Thank you. By a show of fingers, who's uncertain what the law is in Arizona right now when it comes to abortion? Who's uncertain about what the law is in Arizona right now when it comes to abortion? All 6 of you are uncertain what the law is right now on abortion in Arizona. Okay. So, assuming it makes it onto the November ballot, who plans to vote for a constitutional amendment to the Arizona state constitution that would make abortion a fundamental right until 24 weeks of pregnancy? Who would vote for that? A constitutional amendment. 4 of you would. Okay. Sonia, why would you vote for it?
I mean, I believe a woman has a right to choose. It may not be my personal belief. I wouldn't have an abortion, but I'm not going to take someone else's right away from them.
Okay. You have a different reason why you would vote for it? Different from Sonia's?
I would say that it's a right, and if you start taking away rights, then at that point, do you really have a say in anything else? So for example, like gun rights, like whether you agree with it or not, I believe that it's a right. Same thing with abortion, I think it's a right. So once you stop giving people the ability to choose, then that's kind of against the Constitution. So I just believe that whether you agree or with it or not, I believe you should have a choice regardless of whatever topic it is.
Okay. Casilla.
Before 24 weeks, the fetus is not viable outside the womb. So that's why I would vote for it.
Got it. So, of the 4 of you, could any of you envision voting for the constitutional amendment and also voting for former President Trump? Among the 4 of you, I mean Sonia, Kristen, Casilla, and Manny. Can any of you imagine voting for that constitutional amendment and also voting for Trump? Any of you? Take that as a no. Okay. So Melissa and Enrique, you would vote against that constitutional amendment. I have that right?
Maybe I might not even vote for it. I mean, there's that option, right?
Might not vote at all. Either way, you mean?
I mean, you don't have to vote on the amendment, right?
You don't have to vote on anything. You can skip it.
Exactly.
Okay. So you would choose not to vote as opposed to voting one way or the other?
Yeah, because it's I mean, like even just the whole abortion, I think it's very controversial. I can see both sides of it. I mean, I just don't agree with people that have like 30 abortions. It's like, I mean, come on. Yeah, and there's people that just continuously have them just because they can. And I'm
Okay.
like, well, I mean, there's other ways, but
So Enrique, hang on a second. So if you feel that way, why wouldn't you just vote no?
I mean, and on the other side too, I'm like, I don't want to tell people what they can and can't do. I mean, they're gonna do it anyways, right? So who am I to tell them do it or not do it, right?
Okay.
But but if you were putting on the ballot, once the baby's born, if your intention was to abort it, then you terminate that life, then I would vote no for that.
Okay.
Definitely.
We're not talking about infanticide.
Yeah, or not, but
We're talking about before the baby is born. So I guess my question is, so you're willing, just so I understand this, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but
yeah, no, you're fine. You're fine. Go ask away. I'm good.
my question is, you're willing to let other people decide whether or not abortion is legal in the state of Arizona. You're willing to let other people decide that and not be part of that decision yourself.
I mean, I'm not having an abortion, right? So
Okay.
I can't have an abortion personally. So I mean, sure. I mean, whatever, like it doesn't affect me. I mean, I'm going to teach my daughters what I believe is correct, and hopefully they abide by that. But at the end of the day, they're going to do what they're going to do, right?
But
And do I want them to go to jail because they violated that? Probably not.
Okay, got it. Melissa, tell me why you'd vote no, or you just wouldn't vote.
I'm on the fence because I understand that the fetus is not viable prior to that, but I also see what my religion teaches about that. I also don't, I feel like, as I said earlier, that the biggest consequence we see is having our rights taken from us, and that's a huge right for women. So I think once we give in to one, it can easily be anything else. And so once we see that happening, it's a scary thought for us Americans to basically hand that decision over to others. So I'm kind of like, I'm torn. I don't know what I would do.
Okay, got it. So by a show of fingers, for how many of you will abortion be a big factor in who you will vote for in November's presidential election? 2 of you. Okay. And you've talked about before how you feel about the issue, so I'll take that as basically what Keziah and Kristen. I have a pretty good sense of where you are on the issue, right? So that's why it's important to you. Okay. So, Melissa, I have a quick question. You were the one person in the group who was willing to vote for RFK Jr., correct? Okay. So President Biden would say to you that if you vote for RFK Jr., you're throwing your vote away, since Kennedy has no chance of winning. And if you care about abortion rights, you're essentially giving your vote to Trump if you don't support him, meaning Biden. What do you make of that argument?
I think that he's assuming my stance on abortion is that vital. He's assuming most Americans' stance on abortion is that vital. There's plenty of other issues and large issues that we have that affect every American, women or men, that decide who we vote for.
Okay. So he's putting too much stock in abortion as a tool to try to convince you to vote for him.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. So some Republican office holders support a national ban on abortion after 15 weeks of pregnancy, with exceptions for cases of rape, incest, or risk to the physical health of the mother. By a show of fingers, who would support this 15-week ban policy? Any of you support it?
Can you repeat again that it would have a ban with the exception of,
Rape, incest, so after 15 weeks, it's banned with exceptions for rape, incest, or the physical health of the mother. Who would support that policy?
I think I could, but I'd have a lot of questions on how would you prove that it was rape or incest or, well, I guess incest they could, but how could you prove that it was rape?
Probably tell by the effect that it had on the woman who was raped
Well,
and physical evidence of it.
okay. I could probably stand by that.
Anybody else?
Mm-mm.
Just one of you. Okay.